Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk despite our Christmas hangovers. It's Football Friday. We got a massive slate. We got bowl games. We got NFL matchups. Dan is here with us. We may or may not have Gianni on the show, but we do definitely have Teddy Covers, who's going to break down the Pop-Tarts Bowl, the infamous Pop-Tarts Bowl. We got Sell Me. We got some Ravens and Packers. Marco's going to join us. We got the sauce for the week. He's going to break down a couple games, and then Dan and I are going to do our super contest pick 5. Dan, I'm going to bring you in here real quick. I did not do any of my pick 5 super contest plays yesterday, and I'm glad I didn't. I would have lost. I would not.
Dear God.
What did you?
I didn't use any of them, but I lean towards the Vikings, kind of just that stink around the Lions. But the thing for me is, if people were laying this crazy spread with the Broncos, like, have you been paying attention? Like, look at the teams that they have barely beaten. And the Broncos are very good. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason why they were those big favorites. You know what I mean? But as far as putting that on your card, I think that was a pretty tough look, because this is just a team that hasn't won with regularity as far as margin is concerned. And you're asking them to do it in a Christmas game when you got to question the minds. Even a team who's motivated like them to be pushing for that 1 seed, you're still playing a football game on Christmas against a division rival, and you're asking to cover 13 and a half points. That was one I was talking with Carm. I filled in on Puck Time, and that was one of his lone losers. And I was like, Carm, just confer with me, buddy. I would have told you don't lay points like that on Christmas. On Christmas is when you're giving. You're not taking on Christmas.
Yes.
You know? It's the season of giving.
I had a thought.
And if you did that, you did well, because dogs were barking.
Yes. I actually had a thought. I'm like, I wonder if Sean Payton has the chance to blow out the Chiefs and won't. He won't do that to Andy Reid at the end of the season with Travis.
I think if they
Kelce's
could
last
have,
game
they
at
would
home.
have. Honestly, does Peyton really strike you as a guy who's going to be like, I'm going to pull off my horses? Mr. Bountygate's going to pull off his horses. I think if they could have, they would have rolled up on that team, and I think that's partially why people probably were eyeing backing them. Honestly, I don't think there's much, because they're a little brother that's been beat up on for how many years? You know what I mean? So you finally have a chance to punch your big brother. You're going to take that. It's just they don't have the offense for it. You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, Dan's going to come back in here a little bit later. We're going to do our super contest picks. Let's bring on Teddy Covers. Teddy, I always touch on NBA here a little bit before we get started. And you and I have talked about this Oklahoma City Thunder and the wins record, and boy, they have a kryptonite, don't they? The San Antonio's. I guess all you have to do is have Victor Wembanyama and Vassell and Castle and Harper and De'Aaron Fox. I guess that's all you have to have. Chinks in the armor here or bump in the road for OKC?
So just quick thought on what happened in the NFL yesterday. We're not going to see this happen again in a long time. There were 3 third-string quarterbacks that got the start yesterday, and the 3 third-stringers went 3-0 ATS, which, again, when you talk about the pantheon of the NFL, the third-string quarterbacks are the ones who really can't play. And we saw that from Max Brosmer. Olajuwon wasn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard. And I'll give Josh Johnson credit in Washington. But, yeah, the third stringers 3-0 at ATS, and third-string QBs. I've learned over the years the hard way, I don't want money on third-string quarterbacks very often. But if you played them yesterday, you got a nice Christmas surprise. When it comes to Oklahoma City and San Antonio, my clients and I like this matchup a lot. Because we talked about it last week, where OKC's power rating is literally as high as any team that I've ever had in my 28 years making power ratings in Vegas. So OKC's power rated through the roof. And they clearly have a team that, San Antonio matches up with them 3 ways. San Antonio has I call it the youthful energy. They've got the same energy level that, okay, this is not a veteran team loaded with guys that are just trying to make it through until they can start picking up the play in April. This is a youthful energy team, and the Spurs have it. The Spurs have the depth that OKC has. OKC is an extraordinarily deep team. San Antonio goes 12 deep. So the energy, the youthful energy, the depth, and they have the defense. The Spurs can defend the Thunder without fouling over and over again. There aren't many teams that seem to be able to do that. So it's been easy for my clients and I when it comes to these matchups. I've been playing San Antonio. We've been cashing winning bets. We had another one yesterday. Revenge? No revenge. Spurs right now are playing at that level. And You asked me a month ago, who's OKC's toughest test? And I'm like, San Antonio is a team to watch out for. And I continue to believe that. Now, it doesn't mean that if San Antonio and Oklahoma City meet in the playoffs before the finals, it could mean someone else comes out of the West. But the Spurs are exactly the team that can give OKC problems. We've seen it now 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
I love Wemby coming off the bench. I think it's a fascinating twist. I know they're not going to keep doing it, but there's something really amazing about watching the starters, and then all of a sudden Wemby comes in off the bench. I will tell you, Teddy. So when the Spurs played the Thunder on the 23rd, which was my birthday, I had that game on, but before that, I had a player prop in the Wizards Hornets game. And just watching those two teams, you're like, wow, this Wizards and Hornets team, they're like 100 years away from the level of the Thunder and the Spurs. I was like, is this the same league? Are all 4 of these teams in the same league? How is this possible? So it was very, very interesting. So, yeah, we got some Spurs fans here in the chat. Spurs will win the Western Conference. It's really interesting, really interesting. All right, Teddy, let's get into some football games here. We're going to start with the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Georgia Tech, BYU. We got BYU. I would say they probably have the stability edge. Georgia Tech has some unknowns. That's probably why we're getting this -4. Over under 56, big number here. How do you break this game down?
Yeah, and this is a game where my initial lean and my current opinion do not mesh. So in those situations, from a client standpoint, I don't play it. Because my initial lean on this game was towards the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets plus the points. And, of course, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen right now, I'm seeing BYU mostly -4s out there. There are some 3.5s. There are some 4.5s. There are a prominent 4.5 just popped up at Circa. They took BYU money, which is interesting because there are 3.5s out there, and someone at Circa just bet the 4 up to 4.5. Not necessarily the sharpest move that you can find, yet Circa most assuredly one of the sharpest books you can find. So we're seeing 3.5s, 4.5s for the number, 4 the prevailing number, total sitting at 56 for this ball game. And my initial lean towards Georgia Tech had everything to do with the quarterback position. In general, in bowl games, I want the senior starters. I want the old guys. I want the Haynes King. I don't want the freshmen and the Bear Bachmeyers of the world. And Haynes King has been such a leader for Georgia Tech throughout his career there. The team buys into what he's selling. He's been an extraordinary playmaker, obviously a dual threat QB. He's a guy as an underdog that you take seriously. That being said, that was my first lean, was we want Haynes King plus points. And then you start reading everything. And from an interest standpoint, everything that could go right has gone right for BYU this bowl season. Basically, nobody's opting out. All their key players are in. They kept their head coach and his staff. Satake was, supposedly flirting with the Penn State job. I think Penn State was flirting with Satake. I'm not sure he was flirting the other way around. But coach, players, everybody's in for BYU. And we think about BYU's season, all right? And Georgia Tech, by the way, they've got a new OC. They're replacing Buster Faulkner. He took the Florida offensive coordinator job. So it's going to be Chris Wenke calling plays in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And they suffered some personnel losses on the offensive side of the football, which is certainly a concern. BYU is a team in general. They're going to have the advantage in the trenches. BYU kids, many of them go on Mormon missions. They come back. They're a little bit older. They're a little bit stronger. And when BYU is battling teams in the trenches, that size and experience tends to stand out. Now, the 2 losses this year, they both came to the same opponent, Texas Tech. And what's its strength of Texas Tech? They're extraordinarily strong in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. That's where the Red Raiders were so dominant this season. And that's the only games that BYU lost. I'm not convinced that Georgia Tech's going to be able to battle and match BYU's strength in the trenches, which has me leaning here towards the favorite, -3.5. Like I said, still available for both here in Las Vegas and throughout the United States and the global community. So, yeah, it's favorite or pass for me in this one, which is a flip from my initial opinion. Initially, I was looking at the dog.
Move to NFL, Ravens, Packers. Check the injury report this morning. Lamar Jackson is doubtful. Is that a bad thing? Like this recent version of Lamar Jackson, I just think he's clearly injured. I'm wondering if this is not the worst thing in the world for this Ravens team. We got Green Bay -4. They're dealing with injury to their quarterback, but we got a very low total, over under 40.5. Wondering what you think about Lamar probably being out for this one.
So obviously Jackson hasn't practiced all week. He's downgraded to doubtful. We're talking about a 2-time MVP. Baltimore's record with Lamar Jackson, 79-35, including the playoffs. That's 69% winning percentage. They averaged close to 28 points per game in the Lamar Jackson era with Jackson behind center. Without him, they averaged 16 points a game. All right. So we're talking about nearly a 12 points per game differential. And you look at the straight up record with the backup, and I just lost it right here. 5-12, including the postseason without Lamar Jackson. So clearly there's a drop off from the good Lamar Jackson to the backups that Baltimore has been running out there when Jackson's been hurt. That being said, Andy Lang, you are 100% correct in that Lamar Jackson hasn't been close to being healthy. All right. He's been as banged up as any quarterback in this league. He was on the injury report for 3 different injuries, 3 different weeks. He's missing practice every week. He isn't able to run the football. And when Lamar Jackson is a pocket passer, the Ravens aren't elite. And we've seen that pretty clearly. 1-5 ATS their last 6 ball games. Here, it looks like Ty Huntley's going to get the start. And Huntley's saying all the right things, doing all the right things, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not like Huntley, there's a reason that Huntley's a backup quarterback and has spent his career as a backup quarterback. He's a long way from being elite. And Baltimore right now in the trenches is not a team that is dominating by any stretch of the imagination. Again, they've been getting killed against the spread. The only point spread victory in their last 6 games was that 24-0 shutout against the Bengals, a game where the Ravens defense showed up. When we look at the Green Bay side of the equation, though, they've got QB issues as well and significant quarterback issues. Again, we're recording this on Friday. The game plays tomorrow. We haven't seen Love in practice, Love in practice, but limited. He's got concussion issues, and the backup Malik Willis has injury issues as well. Both those guys are listed as questionable for Green Bay. So it's not like we know the Packers are going to have a great quarterback in this ballgame. By the way, their third stringer, Clayton Tune, he didn't even play the preseason here. He played the preseason in Arizona in a different offense and got signed at the end after Sean Clifford looked so bad. They're like, we can't have Clifford as our third stringer. Let's sign this guy. So it's not like Tune has any experience running this offense. He's never run it. He's never taken a snap from the starting center. So, we talk about, I can back the most disappointing team in the NFL this year in Baltimore. Baltimore is the single biggest disappointment who's banged up. Or I can back a team that, again, they just clinched their playoff spot yesterday. When the Lions lost, Green Bay's in. All right. And they could have their third string QB as well. So for me, we're not playing side here. We're looking at the total. We're looking at 2 offenses that I expect to be struggling. We're looking at 2 defenses that have been solid all season, 2 defenses that are playoff caliber. Yeah, I know it's a low total. 40, still too high. 40.5s are out there. Under the number for Packers and Ravens. I'm not expecting a touchdown fest at Lambeau on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a great call. Hard to see these offenses putting up some big numbers. So, Teddy covers. How was your Christmas, by the way? What do you do on Christmas?
Well, we went to Korean barbecue last night.
Perfect. Love it. It's a perfect Christmas. We're gonna do
basketball. I watched a little bit of. I didn't even watch that much football. I had NBA. I was watching NBA more than NFL. There wasn't a lot to be excited about the NFL, so I watched a bunch of basketball yesterday, and then went out to eat with Amelia.
Yeah, Netflix and Amazon. That did not work out well for them to have the third string quarterbacks in those games. That's a lot of money for some bad football. So, all right, we're gonna do sell me in just a minute, but tell everyone what you have up for Wager Talk for this weekend.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty good run down the stretch here. The bowl season's gotten off to a great start, 100% so far this bowl season, 5-0 with the college playoff bowls dating back to last bowl season. So bowls has gone really well. NBA's gone really well of late, 7-1 the last 8. NFL's in good current form right now. Forget any plays. I'm not going to hype any plays. Get a package, guys. Get aboard with this. We got this Christmas package, don't we? that's as good a deal as you can find. What's the promo code? Christmas 25, I think it is.
Xmas 25. Xmas 25.
Yep. Yeah. Xmas 25 is a great deal over the Christmas holidays. You're going to get 25 off everything and anything. Again, Xmas 25 at checkout. Site-wide promo. You can use it for me. You can use it for anybody. But like this 10-day pass is a good deal right now. 10 days for $99. That's less than $10 a day and get you through all the holidays. Most of the bowls, to be honest, in the next 10 days. Obviously, NFL for the next 2 weekends. That's a good package to get, the 10-day package. We get it right now, $99, and use that Xmas 25 at checkout. Take an additional 25% off. That, my friends, is a good deal.
Smoking deal. Now it's time for the segment that everybody wants and everybody needs. It's Sell Me. Before we do this, though, Dan, we have to be very clear on how you guys can win, because apparently nobody got the memo last time.
Break it down for me. Talk very slowly here and break it down. Right. How people can win a free 3-day flex pass. These are all the only instructions you have to follow, Andy.
Teddy and I are going to break down a game that Dan is going to randomly pick. In the comment section after the show, you pick which one of us you agree with, Andy or Teddy. All you need to type is the name of the handicapper that you agree with and your WagerTalk name. That's it. No explanation, no description, just the name of the handicapper that you agree with and your WagerTalk username. Teddy, last week, the winner was literally the only person that put their WagerTalk username in. That's why they won.
Good job.
Because they were the only one.
Way to win.
Smart move.
We're trying to give away stuff here. We're trying to give away stuff. So, all right, Dan, explain how Sell Me works and then give us the game and the teams.
We look forward to this every week. These two guys, they break down sides blindly in the Sell Me segment. That's right. We now have a sounder for the Sell Me segment. How about that, gentlemen? Production value through the roof here. But basically, I pick a game. I give these guys a side. They don't know which game they're handicapping. They don't know which team they're handicapping. And then they make a case for it right here, right now. These aren't client plays for these guys. They are advocating a side blindly here. And you comment with who you agree with and your WagerTalk username, and you're entered in to win a 3 free-day flex pass. My reputation precedes me, guys, because Lino already knows the disgusting games on the board is what I typically eye. Raiders-Giants was in the running, but I want to hear some thoughts on this game, guys. I'm really intrigued by the Texans taking on the Chargers. This one, you got 2s out there, 1.5. This is essentially a pick-the-winner type game, and these are 2 playoff teams, 2 teams surging in the AFC playoff hunt. So I figured a little Christmas present for the folks. Let's not go dumpster diving. Let's talk a marquee matchup. Teddy already gave you a play on one of the Saturday games here, Baltimore and Green Bay. The other one is Houston and the LA Chargers. Andy, you're going to be assigned this home favorite. You're going to let us know why the Chargers are going to be covering at home against the Houston Texans. But Teddy, the side that I kind of think you might be getting a little discount here with Houston off of that ugly win against the Raiders. Maybe this line dropping a little bit because of the fact they struggled against a division sharing team with the LA Chargers and the Raiders last week. So Houston Texans, LA Chargers. Teddy, sell me on this dog, buddy.
Oh, sell you on Houston?
I want you to sell me on Houston.
Oh, that's easy. Okay. And really, this is in terms of when we think about what has happened with the Chargers have been on a remarkable run. What do we got for LA? They've won now 7 straight ball games. All right. I'm sorry, that's Houston. Sorry. The Chargers have won 4 straight and 7 of their last 8 ball games. But the one area that we've seen consistent struggles, obviously, for the Chargers, they've got offensive line issues. All right. And they've been able to overcome that with the fact that A, their defense has played great, and B, they've been able to get the ball out of Phillip Rivers' hands very quickly. Well, what does Houston do as well as any team in the league? First, they blow up the line of scrimmage, all right? That Texans DL is no joke. I would expect them to own the line of scrimmage against LA, but that's not enough, all right? You can't just blow up the line of scrimmage. You also have to be able to stop those quick dink dunks out of the hand of Justin Herbert And boy, the Texans have the cornerbacks to do it. They're still very much playing for a division title. And I think that in a situation like this, where I'm confident that Houston's defense can stop LA's offense, this might well be a wrong team favorite scenario. Texans, easy choice.
Wow, Andy, a WTF special. You don't have a choice but to not agree, because I want you breaking down the Chargers here. Sell me on that NFL side, Andy.
Christmas sales and CJ Stroud, two things that are very limited. All right, you got CJ Stroud, who did we watch him struggle against this Raiders team? This guy is inconsistent. He does not have a 300-yard game passing yet this year. And you say, well, it was the Raiders. He didn't pass for very many yards. That means they must have rushed the ball well. Yeah, 3.2 yards per carry against the Raiders, a team that is benching Brock Bowers and is throwing in the towel on this season. The Texans do have an elite defense. Do they have an elite quarterback? I can't really make the case. Do they have an elite coach? I certainly can't make the case for that. Meanwhile, I've got a Chargers team that dominated this same Raiders team coming out of the bye week. And then they beat the two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. Then they go on the road. They dominate Dallas. They put up huge numbers. This is a Texans team that, when it comes down to it, the offense just isn't going to be keeping up with the Chargers. The Chargers didn't have to do a whole lot offensively last week. Herbert is feeling a lot more comfortable with the club or whatever he has on his hand. We've got Amari and Hampton back. I get the much better offense. I get the much better coach, and I get the home team coming off of a really, really big win. Meanwhile, the Texans coming off of a not so impressive win. Give me the better quarterback. Give me the better offense. Give me the better coach. Chargers and the cover.
Yeah, and just to be, I think I might have said Philip. Did I say Philip Rivers was for the Chargers?
Who knows, Teddy?
Yeah, I know that he's not the quarterback of the Chargers anymore. It was many years. It's Justin Herbert now. I apologize if I got that wrong, but I know in the chat they were making fun of me, so I think I might have said that one.
Who would have thought that in 2025 that Philip Rivers is playing for any football team, Teddy? So the day after Christmas, we'll give you a pass there. But let us know if you want to win a free-day flex pass here. Guys, comment below, Andy, and your WagerTalk username if you think the Houston Texans or the Los Angeles Chargers are going to cover, and comment below if you think the Houston Texans will cover with Teddy and your WagerTalk username, and you're entered in. It has to be after the video goes live. Comment below, folks, and you'll be entered in. I always love that game. Guys, I will say one thing about that. Gross. 39.5-point total. Like, this might be a first team to 17, first team to 14 kind of game. It could have a little bit of a slobber knocker here. That total is ugly, folks. Teddy, always a pleasure, man. Hope you had a great holiday, and we'll see you next week. Appreciate it, buddy.
Cheers. Look forward to it, guys. Good luck this weekend, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
And to you, Teddy, and to you. Yeah, Andy, I love that segment. I had to mix it up because we have Marco waiting here in the wings. I wanted to have a time when Marco didn't come on and be like, Dan, you are one sick bastard. I am, but maybe for other reasons this time. So,
all right. So here's the thing. Memphis money. You got to wait till the show's over. You got to put it in the comment section.
Right. He did do it right. That's what it should look like, but do it after the show.
Yes, exactly. So after the show in the comments section. So we're going to get to Marco here real quick. Dan, let me do a quick Steam report since we didn't have Gianni. It looks like we're not going to have him today. So I can go over some lines that have moved and some big moves. College football will start there today. Money has come in on New Mexico. So closer to kickoff, it looks like if you want to take New Mexico, take them now. If you want to take Minnesota, just wait a little bit. We have big money coming in on Florida International. That has dipped below the key number of 7. So if you like UTSA, you can get them -6.5. Games tomorrow. The biggest move by far was Army. Obviously, that whole situation is bizarre, but basically Army is facing UConn and they are big favorites. If you want to take Army, I'd take them sooner rather than later. Money has come in a little bit on Clemson. That is still below 3, but my guess is once those 3s pop up, there will be buyback on Penn State. So you heard Georgia Tech and BYU already got broken down. Let's take a look at the NFL lines. Money, the line has moved on Green Bay, but I would wait if you're going to make a bet on that, just wait until you get official quarterback news for coming out of Green Bay. Baltimore, it looks like Lamar is going to be out. And then, Houston Chargers, that is just dancing around between a pick 'em. It looks like there are some -2s in there. So some of these books may jump to 2.5, but I doubt we see a 3 on that one. Money's come in on Cincinnati. That has moved over the key number of 7.5. It looks like some books are starting to drop down to 7. So we're getting buyback on Arizona. That's one of the most terrifying phrases I've used all week. Buyback on the Arizona Cardinals. Here's another scary one. Money's coming in on Cleveland. There's the second most terrifying phrase I've heard all week. Money is coming in on Tampa Bay. If you want to get Tampa Bay, grab them now because there's 6.5 popping up, and 7s will surely be there to come. And New England still below 14. 13.5s are out there against the hapless Jets, but that would be a one. If you want to get 2 touchdowns, you're going to have to grab them now because that'll be 14 on kickoff.
So Andy, over
yes,
over 1,300 people watching here live. One thing I would like to mention, as that was the Steam report, while Gianni is not with us, he's getting a Friday off here, folks, working hard. But I would be remiss if we didn't mention that this coming Sunday, as it was brought to you by Gianni, even though it was not Gianni, it was Andy the Greek. Bet with Ace in the Steam Room. Essentially, what the Steam Room is on Sunday mornings, leading up to some action in the NFL. Gianni goes live and he's answering questions with folks. It's typically only for, sometimes WagerTalk insiders, which you can, join here on the channel. But this week we're actually offering it free, and it's either for his clients or WagerTalk insiders. This week, anyone who is subscribed to the channel can get access to this for free. So more reasons than ever, folks, to subscribe. If you like these live shows that we do, you don't want to miss recorded shows like we have Marco coming up here next. He does a deli segment that's been terrific all week long. Outside of what he does on Bet On It, he breaks down different sandwich spots and dog spots and ways for you to make money, and he's cashed, a nice amount of tickets for you. So subscribe, folks, to the channel. Hit that like button as well. But if you want free Steam Room access this Sunday, more details and access to it can be found at wt.buzz/SR1228. That is 12/28, as that is the date the Steam Room will take place. But the easiest way to get the Steam Room, and when these free Steam Rooms are active, guys, just hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. It goes a long way, and it's a huge way to say thanks for what the guys do here, giving you free actionable info on the channel outside of what they do, cashing tickets for their clients as well.
If you have that graphic for my birthday special, it's still going on, Dan, and I want to mention it because we have a big weekend of plays. I just put up a 5% NFL player prop, and we just put up a 3% cricket play this morning. So you can still use the promo code Andy46. Absolutely smoking
I found
deal.
it.
There we
it's
go.
Deep in the recesses of my computer, Andy, but I did find it for you, buddy.
Yes. So my 46th birthday was earlier this week, but we're still running a special on checkout. Use a promo code Andy46. You get 7 days for $46. Absolutely smoking deal. Looking forward to a big weekend. Like I said, 5% NFL prop is up, and you're going to get all of our props for Sunday and Monday. And we have a cricket play that goes off. This also includes all of our, we got a soccer play that's up. Darts starts back up tomorrow. Cash 3 in a row to close out that first session in darts. So really excited about that. So great deal. You're not going to beat 7 days for $46. So promo code Andy46, 7 days. Let's get it. And a shout out to Garth. Yes, in our Discord, I need to shout out Dan. Someone went on the 27-10 run with volleyball.
27-10 volleyball run, just dropping chats in the Discord. I mean,
yeah, he's incredible.
Andy, how can people join the Discord?
It's just go to Discord and look up Winning in the Shadows. I'll try and post in the comment section a link to it. But yeah, we have some incredible handicappers in there breaking down sports that you just wouldn't really think
you will not be betting on. I guarantee you're not betting on volleyball unless you're in Andy's Discord channel. That's
we have a handball section. So
nothing like Belarusian handball to get the blood flowing, Andy.
It's beautiful. All right, speaking of beautiful, let's bring in Marco.
That's a segue you don't hear often, Marco.
No, I've never heard that segue before. Belated happy birthday, Andy. And I got 2 things before we get started. First of all, Dan, you are still a sick bastard, because if there was ever a week that we needed garbage, I wanted to hear them break down Raiders and the Giants, why neither one should win that game, because they both have 2 wins and they're vying for the number one playoff draft, and you dropped the ball. I am absolutely disappointed in you. And you know what? It's the day after Christmas, and if it was the day before Christmas, you would have gotten a lump of coal from Marcus Claus. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't pick dog shit, and I still get reamed. This is. I can't win.
This is the week you're supposed to have it. When have we had two teams, 2-13, trying not to win a game?
It's a very fair question. You can probably count on one hand.
Okay. Andy, I just wanted to jump in when you did the great breakdown of the Gianni the Greek report. I wanted to explain one of those line moves, what it's about. That Cleveland line move against Pittsburgh, dropping from 4 to 3.5 to 3. That's really not money coming in. What it was is the books protecting themselves, because once you had the word that Lamar Jackson's not going to play for Baltimore on Saturday, that makes Baltimore's chances of winning on Saturday a little tougher. And if Baltimore does lose on Saturday, the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game becomes meaningless as Pittsburgh clinches the division before they take the field on Saturday. So that's the reason from the 4 to 3. Not exactly money, but people that were getting ahead of the line move while they could still get it. But the books wanted to protect themselves, because that line will drop even further if Baltimore does lose on Saturday.
It makes sense. I still think Baltimore may be better off with Huntley rather than this injured.
No, I agree.
Lamar
I agree. I think they're
so interesting.
They're actually, Andy, they're both the same type of quarterback style-wise. Obviously, when Lamar Jackson's healthy, he's a much better quarterback. But the problem is Lamar Jackson's always hurt. And Lamar Jackson, we're hearing some other things coming out of Baltimore, stories about, I just think they're going to play harder for Huntley than they are going to play for Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. I hate to say that, but I think it's going to be an interesting offseason, because I think the way the contract's written, he's going to be responsible for like 24% of the payroll, the cap hit next year on this swing year of the contract. That's going to be kind of tough to if you eat that and try to build the rest of the team around him. And that's why we're seeing this team year by year getting thinner and thinner. They got too much money in the wrong places.
It's amazing when they sign these big quarterback contracts. The team these rookie deals are like gold in the NFL. So let's go to the Texas Bowl. Our resident LSU fan in the chat, RJ, has strong opinions about this one, but we want yours, Mark. We got LSU versus Houston. Can we say a bit of a weird season for LSU?
You think? Now, the thing of it is, when you handicap these bowl games, we're always trying to look at, who wants to win, where's the motivation, and so forth. And I'm going to be honest, when you start to handicap this, it's tough to make a case for the LSU side, even though I'm going to get there at the end of the day with LSU. Obviously, you look at LSU when you say, hey, they're going to this bowl, the Texas Bowl. How excited can they be? Well, yeah, you go back to the beginning of the season, and this is a team that was ranked in the top 10 and really thought to be a contender for the national championship. And I'll be honest, I thought they were myself. And the season just fell apart. They fired Brian Kelly. Now you get to the bowl game, you've got opt-outs galore on the LSU side. They're not going to have quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, which they didn't have him down the stretch anyways. Houston looks to be at full strength. Houston's playing in Houston. So obviously there's going to be a bias with the crowd. All of that's lining up to, on the surface, let's just go ahead and grab Houston. They're even the favorite over an SEC school. But I'm sorry, I'm still looking at a Big 12 school against an SEC school that, yes, is going to have a lot of backups in the game. But when you look at most of the SEC teams, a lot of their backups can start on other teams. Let's be honest about that. And I think LSU is going to be okay in this game. We know Lane Kiffin takes over after the bowl game. So it's interim head coach Frank Wilson for one more game. He's 1-3 in the 4 games that he has coached since they fired Brian Kelly. But at the end of the day, when you look at the games, most of the games have been competitive. Why? Because LSU plays outstanding defense. Houston's bread and butter is their ground game. They've had 3 straight games where they've rushed for 200 yards or more on the ground. Look at who they've played. Teams that don't play really good defense. LSU's strength has been their defense, especially against the run. LSU, without question, has played the much tougher schedule than Houston has played. Backup quarterback Van Bruten, he's done well. He's gotten stronger in each game. He's got a QB rating of 122. I think he's going to be okay facing this Houston defense rather than facing the SEC defenses that he's had to face. And I always say, and even with the backups, I still say LSU has the better defense. I can get points with the better defense. That's where I'm going to go. End of the day, I'll take LSU plus the points in this one.
You got disagreement from the LSU fan, Marco.
I thought I had so much disagreement there that you guys dropped me there. I had a little bit of silence there.
No, I was looking at what RJ's opinion was on this one. He says this lineup's not an SEC team. That's great. Love you, RJ. All right, let's move to the NFL. But actually, before we do this, Marco, this has been such a weird season for your Steelers. I got to get your opinion on what's this season been like from a Steelers fan's perspective. There've been some weird games.
Oh, there's been absolutely a ton of weird games. In, last week, it was so crazy, the ending there, where nobody knew what happened at the end. Was it a touchdown? Wasn't it a touchdown? The referees are looking at it. They're talking with one another. And then after 4 minutes go by, and remember, this is just a couple days after we had that Seattle fiasco with that 2-point conversion on Thursday night with the referees changing thing. They come out and the referee, it was one of those good news, bad news, which do you want first? Well, I think he should have started with the bad news first, because the referee comes out at the end of the game and goes, the result of the play is a touchdown. And the crowd erupts in Detroit thinking they won the game. And he goes, however, there was so much noise after the eruption of the touchdown announcement that I don't think 3/4 of the crowd realized that he was about to say the game's over, Detroit loses. It's crazy. And I happened to be at the Westgate, our good friends at the Westgate on Sunday. You want to talk about the place going nuts, because there were so many money line parlays to Detroit, teasers to Detroit. They erupted thinking they won the game too. It's been a crazy year. And the Steelers, to be where they're at now, and what was more amazing for the Steelers, remember, it was less than a month ago that they were chanting "Fire Mike Tomlin." And then last week, the Steelers put up 481 yards of offense on Detroit. Granted, Detroit's got injuries to the defense, but still, Pittsburgh hasn't had a 481-yard offensive output since Ben Roethlisberger's been gone. And we're talking Ben Roethlisberger a few years, back when he still, was at full strength. It's just been a crazy season. The fans are happy right now, but what's going to happen whenever they lose in the first round again? Is that going to erase everything they did down the stretch? Because it's going to be the same old story.
It's like it just follows Aaron Rodgers around, I think. He just brings chaos and weirdness, and it's never easy.
Believe it or not, people, I didn't know how the Pittsburgh fan base would embrace Aaron Rodgers. He's slowly won them over the course of the season. He did a nice gesture, which is something he's done everywhere he's been. All of his offensive linemen got, super nice gifts for him from Christmas. He bought them all, I think, quads off-road stuff. I mean, we're not talking about cheap gifts. Okay. He takes care of his players, and the fans right now, they're buying it because Aaron Rodgers is a winner. And does he got one more left in the tank, take him on a magical ride? We'll see where this goes.
Well, let's go to another game here. Incredible game. Eagles, Bills. I was kind of chuckling, like, this Bills team, they got to be like, can we catch up with New England this week? And it's like, no, New England's facing the Jets. Like, can we catch up with them? No, they're facing the Dolphins. Like every week, it's like the Bills have this tough game and New England's facing the Jets again. So the Patriots, they're going to be playing at 1. I believe this game is afternoon, so we're going to know what happened there. But this is a great game. This is Dan's Eagles versus Ross the Boss's Bills. How do you break this game down?
Well, I'll start with saying this will be a great plug for Marco's Deli. This is one of the games. It is on this week's Marco's Deli, and I'll explain why when I give you the breakdown. But if you like the way I'm about to break this game down, that's what Marco's Deli is all about. It's about trap games. It's about sandwich spots, situational spots. I look at games a different way, and, it's great for you. If you like the way I do it, put you on a winner. Even if you don't like the side I come with, if I get you off of a game not to play it, that's actually more beneficial to you, because if I give you a winner, you make 1 unit. But if I take you off a loser, I actually saved you 1.1 units with the juice. So this is a trap game, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is, you look at this line. Philly clinched the division last week with their win over Washington. So Philly set. Buffalo still needs wins. Okay. Now they're in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But Buffalo has 2 things to play for. One is what you just mentioned. Buffalo has an opportunity to catch New England if New England stubs their toe. So in comes Buffalo with a need to win. Buffalo, as I said, is already in the playoffs, but are they going to be the 5, 6, or 7 seed? Depends on what they do the last 2 weeks. So they do have a reason to play as far as positioning goes. Also, based on looking at this line, Buffalo with need at home, and this line opened under a field goal. It opened at 2.5. And my bells and whistles alarms went off right then. I'm saying, this line smells fishy. You got Buffalo that's got need. Philly really doesn't have need. They're in and won their division. Why is this under a field goal? And we've seen Buffalo put up big offensive numbers in the last several weeks. It looks like they're absolutely begging you to take Buffalo. And I thought it was low at 2.5, and the line continues to drop. It's down to 1.5. Smells fishy. And when the line smells fishy to me, that's when my trap alert goes on. And it's lining me up on Philadelphia. And if you look at Cincinnati or look at Buffalo, remember 3 weeks ago, Cincinnati came in here with their offense, which is explosive, but a defense that's a sieve. And they had Buffalo on the ropes. If it wasn't for Joe Burrow throwing back-to-back interceptions, pick sixes in that game in the fourth quarter, they don't come back and win that game. It was a 39-34 win. Cincinnati dominated that game for 3.5 quarters. I'm going to take Philly here. Now that they've won the division, they got, they can play loose. I'm going to take them in this one, plus the points. Don't know how Dan feels about that one. Usually I'm picking against his Eagles, but I like them this week in this game.
Well, your microphone didn't turn off, so I had to like what you were saying there, Marco. But one thing I would also throw in there, because there is questions about how is the motivation for either of these teams. One thing I will say is whenever there is a plus sign next to the Philadelphia Eagles name, that has been a great spot. Nick Sirianni is a guy who he thrives in motivating his guys. That's really all he brings to the table. It sure ain't schematic differences, but over the last 2 seasons, Eagles 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread when they are getting points. So a barking dog here against a team who really hasn't been all that dominant at home. I typically am fading my Eagles too, Marco, as an emotional hedge. But I think this should be pick 'em at worst. And in some spots, that is what it is. So if you're getting points, I think this is a no-brainer teaser leg for sure. Is if you're as long as you're not having to pay minus 135 to take the Eagles up to 7.5, it's a no-brainer if you have a good price teaser shop, which in 2025 is becoming increasingly hard to find. But that's probably the way that I would attack it. But music to my ears, Marco. What do you have rocking? Because with that Xmas 25 deal that we have going, people can take 25% off even already heavily discounted things over at the page. So when they head on over to wt.buzz/MD, what kind of stuff will they find?
Yeah, and guys, that coupon code Xmas 25, that's not just on daily packages, it's weekly packages, monthly package. You can even grab a full season at a 25% discount with that. And it's going to be a jam-packed weekend, guys. We got football galore. You've got bowl games all weekend. You've got NFL Saturday and Sunday. So jump on board. And guys, the bowls, last year I went 9-4. This year, 4-2 so far. One of those 2 losses. Not a good Christmas Eve present. I had Cal. That was a tough one to swallow on Christmas Eve, up 21-0, and end up losing on next to the last play of the game. But 5% plays will be included. Any that we have in this coming week. We're 40-18. Since February 2024 with those. So take advantage of a package this week and save yourself 25% with that coupon code.
All right, Marco, this is the time when we get to let you off the leash and we talk the wing sauce of the week. If you haven't joined us before, we get to get unfettered looks at Marco. This has been one of my favorite things this season is letting Marco shine. So the wing sauce of the week, what's the hot take that we're looking at this week?
The hot take this week is Marco called an audible on you guys, and he didn't let you know. No sauce of the week because it's Christmas, and we had Marco Claus on Bet On It this week. Well, we were spreading cheer on Bet On It. Marco Claus is delivering who got lumps of coal this year.
Yes, please.
Okay? We've got a few, okay? And Marco's going to start with last Saturday. Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko, okay? All right. In a scoreless game with 2 minutes to play in the first half. And it's a scoreless game because neither quarterback is any good in that game. And you're playing with wind gusts of 30 miles an hour at times. Field goal kickers are struggling. Quarterbacks are struggling. So it's 4th and 4 with 2 minutes to play, and you're at your own 46-yard line. 4th and 4. Time to punt. But no, Mike Elko got the great idea. You know what? Let's go for it. But no, we don't go for it in a traditional factor and have our quarterback out there. Let's send the punter out there to run a fake punt and throw the football in wind gusts. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, that didn't work out, and it led Miami down the field. However, with those wind gusts, Miami missed the short field goal, the 40-yard field goal right before the half anyway, so he got a reprieve. So first lump of coal for stupidity goes to Mike Elko. Second lump of coal goes to Green Bay's Romeo Doubs. Oh, you're on the hands team. You got one job. And not only you got one job, you get probably the best bounce in football on an onside kick right up into your breadbasket, and you fumble the onside kick. I think there was only 5 onside kicks made this year for the entire season. The probability factor, I think, was like 2 or 3% chance of making an onside kick. Yeah, you fumbled. They get the ball. They go down, score the game-tying touchdown, and then end up winning it in overtime. Lump of coal for Romeo Doubs. And the last one, this is a 3-parter, but it's all involving the same people. We're going to give the Detroit Lion defense, the Detroit Lion offense, and head coach Dan Campbell all lumps of coal. And the defense, what can we say? We talked about it. They let the Steelers have 481 yards of offense. You get a lump of coal. You know, the Lions offense, you can't score 2 weeks. You struggle. And yesterday, 6 turnovers, you get a lump of coal. But the biggest lump of coal, and this one gets not in your stocking, Dan Gamble. I'm hitting you over the head with it, okay? Because in that Steeler game, it's the second drive of the game. You're down 3-0, and it's 4th and 3. You've had 4th and goal from the 3, I should say. You've already had 3 cracks at the end zone, and you haven't gotten in. Tie the frickin' game and kick the field goal. Guess what? If he had kicked that field goal in the first quarter and tied the game at 3-3, the score at the end of the game would not have been 29-24, needing a touchdown to win. It would have been 29-27, needing just a field goal on that final play of the game to get in there. You've done it so many times this year, Dan, I know, as you say, that's who we are. Well, you know what? You get a lump of coal on your head. Merry Christmas from Marco Claus.
I love it.
Claus.
I love it. Well, although with a triple coaler for the Detroit Lions, I joked about when you were breaking down the Eagles, we left your mic on. I'm shocked the show's still running because the Detroit office has to be screaming at their TVs after Marco's, although they probably agree with you. Been a rough season there for the Lions.
Hey, you know what? I've pissed off half of the NFC North this year.
This is true.
Just the Chicago fans don't like me.
Make it a full sweep. Oh, man.
That's it, guys. Sorry for the audible.
Love it. Great stuff, Marco.
Appreciate you, Marco. Best of luck, brother.
All right. Have a good week, guys. Let's cash some tickets.
Yeah, let's check out that Xmas 2-5, and maybe Detroit office did cut him off there where he was saying cut some tickets or cash some tickets. Man, they're not happy about the triple coaler.
Can I say something real quick here, Dan? And I'm glad I can say this because somebody in the chat just agreed with me. Thank you, Captain Kush. The big helmets, I'm still not used to the big helmets.
It's tough to see. It's a tough look, especially when it's a diminutive guy like Romeo Dobbs with the Guardian cap looks ridiculous.
It looks like one of the characters in Spaceballs.
Yeah, dark helmet. Yeah, exactly. That's,
I know it's
tough.
for safety. I know it's for safety, but I just can't quite get over the hump mentally. I still chuckle when I see it a little bit.
Especially when it's like peeling off. It looks kind of bush. It really does. And not to say like, dude, anything, even if it's reducing concussions, 18% or whatever, like all for it. I completely, as a guy who played football, as a guy who played center and has knocked his head quite a few times, I'm all for it. But the look it's pretty ridiculous.
Listen, I agree. Like I'm just saying that the look of it is it just takes me off guard. I'm glad it's safe. I wish everybody.
And that's what we're saying. All for it. You know what I mean? But it does. It looks like you ever play. Do you remember the N64 game?
Okay,
that's a GoldenEye where you could put it on big head mode. That is, it feels like big head mode on GoldenEye.
Let's do some free plays for the people here, Dan. You want to start with WTF LFG?
Yeah, let's do it, man. And guys, this segment, we started off WTF and LFG. Basically, if you never joined us, what we do is I give a play, one solo play. It could be prop, it could be side, it could be total, it could be any sport. And you, the chat, and Andy decides if it is a WTF, if we're fading that play, or if it is an LFG. And we're backing that play. This is what it kind of looks like with Andy's face. Sometimes he goes, what the hell are you thinking? Or he says, let's cash these tickets, Dan. Well, after we started 0-2, Andy, we have been on a roll since. We've gone 7-1 since that point. We just cashed on Thursday. A lot of folks in the chat weren't agreeing with my thought that Aaron Jones would be going over his attempts because he had an ankle injury. Doesn't matter if you have an ankle injury and you're the only running back. He soared over 15.5, 16.5, so it wins at any number. We're going back to a running back prop here, Andy. And let's take a look at that Eagles and Bills game. A lot of people are talking about Saquon Barkley and, oh my goodness, he's playing the worst rush defense. His yardage total in this, Andy, is now 102. 102.5 is the yardage total that we have for Saquon. I'm not going to make a case for the under, but don't bet that play, folks. Don't bet Saquon to go over 102 rushing yards. If you want to bet Saquon, tail me on this play and take his longest rush, over 16.5 yards. It's only minus 114 at the Blue Book. 16.5 is the number basically painted. It's been rough going for Saquon. If you remember, Andy, we actually bet him under 80.5 rush yards. We cashed because he got pulled out of the game because he played so well. So we still cashed regardless. He's gone over 100 yards twice in the last 3 games. So he's finally starting to find his stride. Once it was really a ho-hum year, I think the offensive line picking up some of their woes has been a big part of that. But now facing against this 30th ranked rush defense in the league, running backs currently averaging over 5 yards per carry versus this defense. It's exactly what Saquon Barkley needs to continue this kind of upswing that he's had. However, having a guy who struggled all year, who's averaged around 70 rush yards per game, 100 yards isn't the way to bet him. He's cashed this over his longest run, 3 straight games. I think it becomes 4 straight against this. A broken tackle can get you 17 plus yards against this rush defense, who guys like, backup running backs for the Cleveland Browns went over this number. Guys like Woody Marks went over this number. Now you have a Saquon Barkley who's surging at the end of the year. I think 16.5 is a really good way if you want to bet a running back prop in this game. I wanted Tank Bigsby. Nobody's offering him. Let's go over 16.5 on the longest rush for Saquon. WTF or LFG, my friend?
I'll give you an LFG. We'll get to fading the Bills' rush defense in all around the world and why I agree with it. But yeah, these rush defenses, they're not getting better as the season goes on. They're getting worse. And this is a Bills team. This is their big Achilles heel. It has been all year. It hasn't gotten better. They got some guys back healthy, and then they immediately got hurt. So I saw that number from Saquon, and that's the book's just telling you everything you need to know. Like, they're not giving you the free over on the rush.
No, it's a FU line. You know what I mean? Our late friend Dave Sherapin would refer to that, longtime odds maker. He would say sometimes they would sit back in the book and they would say, all right, we know that this is probably going to hit, but if you want to bet it, FU, here you go. 102 rush yards for a guy averaging 71 yards per game. I'm finally getting a lot of LFGs here in the chat, Andy, so we love it. Comment after the video goes live and let us know if you're tailing or if you are fading. And Andy, another comment we got, elite DB, an elite defensive back, 21. He's wondering, do we got any NBA plays? Well, you've come to the right place, because Andy Lang not only has some NBA plays, he has plenty more for you here coming up in all around the world. Correct, Andy?
Yeah, I'll go through some NBA plays that I like. The Boston Celtics minus 8.5 against the Pacers. Coming out of the holiday, I would say that 8.5 at home for the Pacers is a little bit too much. This is a Pacers team that's actually playing tough. They're just losing, which is what they should be doing. They're primed for good. This is a team that's probably going to cover a lot of games and just be one of the worst 3 teams record-wise in the league. So I would lean that way. I would also look at the Pelicans plus 5.5 against the Suns at home. Again, I like these home teams getting money. Zion coming off the bench has been really good for this team. I talked about how he's thin. He looks healthy. And this is a Phoenix team that I think the shine is starting to wear off of Phoenix. I would gladly take those points. And then who would have thunk the Portland Trail Blazers? It's basically a pick 'em against this Clippers team. This Clippers team is fade. It's a disaster season for them. And you want to talk about a couple guys that I don't see motivated coming out of a break. That's James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. My favorite player prop, that will be a client play. It's going to be an obscure one here, guys. It's Bub Carrington over 8.5 points for the Washington Wizards. We had a bet on him the other night to go over his points, and he got in foul trouble immediately and just barely went under his total. The books have lowered this number. He's going to get his normal minutes coming off the bench. He goes up against backup guards, and he should have success. That number is 8.5, so that will be a client play. So there's a few NBA plays for you.
Look at
all
that.
Right, we can do all around the world. Yeah,
you're a man of the people, man. They said give us NBA bets. We had Mike chiming in. He was like, "No, NBA is crazy. It is crazy. That's why we hit it here at the end, brother. You got to stay tuned."
Well,
and
it's
Andy,
also called Football Friday. It's called Football Friday.
The
literal
title of the
name
video
is Football Friday.
Yeah, well, comprehension at an all-time low, Andy. But let's comprehend how to bet some of these free plays that you got for the folks. It's all around the world, and Andy and I still have our 5 NFL side picks coming up for you guys. So a loaded Friday show after Andy just gave you like 4 NBA free plays. What are we going all around the world with, brother?
We're hitting NFL pretty hard. We'll go to this Giants-Raiders game. Jackson Dart under 30.5 rushing yards. I think they finally got to Jackson Dart, and they were like, stop running the ball. You can't go to the blue tent anymore. So last week, Dan, he did nothing. He threw for 33 yards last week. I will repeat that. He threw for 33 yards. He only got credited with a couple of rushes. So I like Jackson Dart to go under. Saints-Titans, Tyjae Spears over 17.5 receiving. This play has been fantastic. He's gone over in 9 out of 10 games this season. He has 2 or more catches in the full 10 games that he's played. And then I'm taking your quarterback, Dan, rushing is a way to fade this Bills defense. I don't like this big Saquon number. There are going to be holes galore in that line, and Jalen Hurts does a great job of exploiting it. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he knows how to get to the sideline, extend drives. I like him to go over 32.5 rushing. So those are 3 NFL props that I would keep my eye on.
Yeah, I love that. And if you remember, there was a game that the Eagles played in the rain against the Bills. I think it was in 2023 before they completely collapsed. His rushing yards, I mean, he averaged, I think it was like 31 yards per rush or something in that game. It was something crazy. He was just ripping them off. Is Lane back for the Birds? Probably not. I mean, I think he's available, but I think the Eagles are kind of viewing this as they're basically going to be locked in as the 3 seed, barring some craziness. So probably you rest him, you rest Jalen Carter, even though they are available. There's been no words. I haven't seen him at practice this week. For what it's worth, Ed. So it's a good question there, though. And I agree with John. Give the guys a like here and subscribe, folks. We have over 2,200 people watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please help us grow this channel. It's something that we have been very proud to do here. And, just hitting that like button and subscribing goes a long way for all the free action that we give you here, Andy.
Yeah, somebody already asked about darts. Let's do these picks. Let's do the pick 5, and then I'll see if I can find
we'll give the darts for the after hours, folks, as we've already gone over an hour here, Andy.
Okay. All right. Let's do the pick 5. I'll go first. I do agree with the Chargers over the Texans. This offense just doesn't quite have the zest. And I think this Chargers team might be peaking going into the playoffs. This would be a scary team to play. I do love this Ravens team at the Packers. I think they're going to be better with Huntley, and I don't trust this Packers team without Jordan Love. I know Malik Willis has had his moments, but I just like this Ravens team without Lamar. Jags at Colts. Our defense can't stop anybody. The Jags are a juggernaut right now. Like, they look so good. And Phil Rivers put up some big numbers, but it's our defense. Without Sauce Gardner, we can't stop anybody. So Jags, I like big. And I just want to fade this Jets team. I want this Patriots team under 14. So I'll take that one. And then the Saints minus 2.5 at the Titans. I hate this, Dan, because I have a future on the Saints under 6.5 wins, which looked like a lock. And they've won 3 straight. And now they get like Titans, Jets, or Titans. I can't remember who they finished out the season with. So now I'm going to have to freaking hedge if they win this game. And I think they are going to. I don't think they're that bad. I think Tyler Shuck's pretty good. He's got really good chemistry with Olave. They're on their 17th string running back, and yet they just keep getting these bad teams. I think they win and cover, and they put me in a horrible position where I got a hedge out of a freaking season win total that looked like it was a slam dunk. Like, literally a month ago, it was like, all I need is for the Saints to not win the last 6 games of the season, and now they've.
And what happened?
They may do that. So that's
and clearly, a lot of people towards the end of the year, it's like, oh, they're playing for draft position. Like, it was very clear that the Saints said, hey, we're kind of in this murky position right here. What do we have in Shaw? So they clearly have said, screw the draft position. Let's get building blocks for next year. And this is about building up a coach and building up a culture. Props to Kellen Moore. This season could have went completely different. Props to Kellen Moore. We would love to still have you in Philadelphia. I was hoping they would suck, so he would leave there and come back. That's not going to happen. 5 picks for me and my man Adam Rosenberg. Not sure if we're going to get a show. There's some sick kids in the household for my man Berg. So either I'll do a solo show, but you can get the plays here. We're a little bit head-to-head. We're taking Houston plus 1.5. I think you're getting a discount. Houston, yes, the offense is really bad. Yes, they're going against this Chargers defense, but this Chargers defense, when they play good defense, or this Chargers offense, when they've played good defenses, and the cornerbacks can certainly match up with what the Chargers like to do and air the ball out. So I think this could be a little bit of a wrong team favored. So I would take the points there. The way that I would really bet it, take Houston as that other teaser leg with my Philadelphia Eagles. Take them both up to 7.5. I think this is a 3-point game either way. Same way that you were saying about, just laying it with the Jags. I feel like you do that with Seattle. This Carolina team, yes, they've been the nice surprise of the year, but this Seattle team has just been absolute animals on the road under Mike Macdonald. So I'm not afraid of laying the 7.5. I think Carolina is going to be an extremely public dog. I think Seattle gets home by margin. Tampa Bay, this is just a fact. Quinn Ewers sucks. Next game, San Francisco going against the Chicago Bears. San Francisco looks like they are the quietest 11-win team that I have ever seen. Like, no one is talking about the fact that this team is just on an absolute roll right now. Chicago is the flavor of the week for sure, as they're a team who's exceeded the expectations. San Francisco's done the same thing. And, this is essentially whoever wins this game is going to be coach of the year. And Shanahan, after the bye week, not that they're coming off the bye, his teams after the bye week occurs, he's an insane against the spread guy once he's able to make adjustments, and especially when you have a team who needed to get healthy. And then just this game doesn't mean much for the Rams, especially if San Francisco ends up winning. Atlanta's been a fun home dog this entire season, beat the Bills outright. Getting 8.5 against a Rams team that may not be all that motivated, I think is a kind of no-brainer for Atlanta, who for the last few weeks, I'm not a Raheem Morris guy, but this team is clearly playing to not get their head coach fired. I think Rams probably win by more of like a field goal. I think 8.5 is a little bit crazy getting them over the key number. So final one is Atlanta on a little ugly action there for you Monday Night Football.
All right. Well, you guys asked for a darts play. I'm going to give you one.
Darts.
And there's a reason why I'm going to bring this up, is because this is a hilarious story. So Clayton and Zonneveld, over 5.5 sets here. This goes off tomorrow. I have to bring up Clayton. Dan, are you aware of how Johnny Clayton advanced?
I'm not aware of how Johnny Clayton, nor who he is or how he advanced, Andy. So fill me in.
Okay, he's a legendary darts player, been around forever. Johnny Clayton was supposed to play a guy named Dom Taylor. Dom Taylor got suspended last year for failing a drug test. This is in darts, by the way. So this guy failed a drug test. They interviewed him about failing the drug test last year, and he told everybody he was very sorry and he felt terrible. And then that afternoon, he got suspended again for a drug test and had to forfeit.
Said, what drugs are we testing?
They haven't said it, but literally they asked him about being suspended last year for failing a drug test. He said he felt terrible and it would never happen again. And it literally happened again a couple hours later, and he had to forfeit a match. So we're going to take them over. Zonneveld had a nice win. It was an upset. But he beat Michael Smith 3-1. These guys are pretty good. They're fairly equal. Clayton should win, but I like Zonneveld to keep this thing competitive, take over 5.5 sets.
Bang.
There's your darts play. Bang.
I mean, Andy, this was a football Friday of all football Fridays. I mean, we hit so many damn football games and darts and NBA. No lacrosse plays for you this weekend, but we like that Saquon Barkley longest rush over. Hopefully go 8-3 on the WTF and LFGs. But a fun week of just 3 shows, Andy. We're back in the saddle for a full 5 next week, brother.
Let's do it, man. We're going to close out 2025 strong.
And close it out with Andy 46. Come on.
Yeah, the special's good till Sunday. I'd lock that thing in now. We will have NBA plays up for tonight. They'll come out a little bit later. We are recording our NFL prop show. That will be up first thing in the morning on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And also put in the comment section below whether you like Andy or Teddy's breakdown and your username so we can select the 3-day pass. It's got to be in the comment section. But the promo code is Andy46. You get 7 days for $46. All plays, including darts plays that go up. We've got a soccer play today. We got cricket tomorrow. We got a 5% NFL best bet. So use that promo code and it gets you 7 days for all of our sports, all percentages. Everything's included to celebrate the birthday. And thank you so much, chat. You guys killed it on Football Friday. day after Christmas. Appreciate all of you. I mean, we're sitting here at 2,300 people live watching us the day after Christmas. It's awesome, awesome stuff. Without you guys, we would not be here. So me and Dan are very appreciative. Let's have a big weekend, kind of reset after Christmas, and we'll be back Monday to get the week started and close out 225 real strong. Dan, thank you very much, buddy. Let's have a big weekend. I'll see you on Monday. All right.
See you Monday, guys. Best of luck, everyone, and use that Andy 46, and we'll see you Monday. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.